One of the founding products of Jameson LLC was fiberglass poles. We've been selling fiberglass poles for almost 60 years now. Visit our website, jamesonllc.com, for complete product information on our poles, including an application chart for each type of pole that we offer. You'll also find detailed information on accessories that go with our poles, such as saw blades, pruners, scabbards, bags, and many others. Please visit our website, jamesonllc.com. As I mentioned, Jameson was the first manufacturer of fiberglass poles for aerial construction and tree care applications. So back in 1956, the founder, James Crates, came up with the idea for the fiberglass pole to make the lineman's job much easier and safer. Our fiberglass poles are made from E-glass, fiberglass, and polyester resin. They're pultruded in continuous length, a uniform product with a couple variations in our product line, which I will tell you about shortly. The colors you see here represent essentially different wall thicknesses of the poles. And those wall thicknesses correspond to different applications as well. The founding product and application and color of pole is the Jameson yellow pole. This is our best-selling pole. It is our most widely used, most versatilely applied pole. We refer to this as the FG pole, the fiberglass pole. Since we were the first, we just called it the FG pole. The green pole is what we refer to as the LS pole, LS for landscaping. This pole has a slightly thinner wall section, which makes it a little lighter, not quite as strong, and it's primarily for the landscaper, someone who does not use the pole day in, day out for many hours at a time. Also good for the homeowner, the do-it-yourself, or the retail market. The blue pole is our BL series. This is a rather new product. It's about 2 years old. This is Jameson's thinnest walled pole, which makes it our lightest pole. However, it is still very strong. The formulation and the recipe for that fiberglass and resin combination gives it strength that is suitable for applications of the yellow pole. Of course, it has better ergonomic benefits due to the lightweight. So this pole would be used by professional arborists who would use the pole for 6, 8, 10 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, where they're really trying to reduce strain on their personnel. The brightly colored foam-filled pole is our JE series, Jameson Electrical series. This pole has some special properties which I'll talk about later. This pole here is a telescoping pole that allows you to adjust the length of your pole very quickly and easily. It has two locks, an exterior and an interior, with a threaded collar, and you have an internal cam lock. You can hear it clicking as it's engaged. Rotate it to disengage, adjust your length, click it to re-engage, and then fasten your outer collar. These are primarily used by the do-it-yourselfer, the retail market, landscapers, and non-arborist professionals who use the pole less frequently than the professional arborist would. It's worth noting that Jameson also has a very heavy wall pole. This orange color is our heaviest wall. Very heavy, very strong pole. A little too heavy for aerial work, tree care work, and aerial construction, but we do have specialty applications where users will reach down into manholes and other underground applications where they need strength and very high rigidity. Special applications only. Just be aware these are available for special needs. Again, you can find all the applications summarized on our website in the application chart, jamesonllc.com. One thing that all of our poles have in common is the ferrules or the end fittings. We call them ferrules. These are made from aircraft grade aluminum. They use a steel leaf spring and button connection. All the ferrules of all the poles are the same. They all interconnect the same way. We have a female ferrule on one end, and we have a male ferrule on the other. To attach them together, we release the leaf spring, let the button click into the hole of the male, and it locks them together. These ferrules are designed to have a little bit of play in them. You'll feel a little bit of slop. That's intentional. That's so that should this ferrule become out of round or have some dirt or grit or grime inside, it won't seize the poles up. You'll still be able to disengage and pull them apart. You'll find other folks on the market don't have that built-in slop, that built-in play, and their poles will seize together. You cannot get them apart once they're seized together. One great benefit of our pole. We offer several types of pole. The most common are the extension pole. This one has a female ferrule on one end and a male ferrule on the other. They work exactly like you would expect. They extend the length of your working pole. You can put as many of these together as you can handle. Jameson recommends 3 poles, 3 6-foot poles as a maximum for the beginning user. Experts can go more. We find 4 is also common with experienced users. Some go as many as 5 and 6. Again, it's up to the experience of the user. Jameson recommends to start with 3. We also have what we call a base pole. This pole has a female ferrule on one end and has a rubber end cap on the bottom end. We call it a base pole because this should be your base when using a series of poles together. This pole should always be used as the bottom pole. And what that helps you do, this end cap, it prevents you from digging the pole in the ground, getting dirt inside, damaging the end of the pole, damaging your ferrule. The end cap protects the pole, protects your product, protects the life of your product. We always recommend to use the base pole as your first pole or your bottom pole. Okay, so back to this pole, our JE series, the Jameson Electrical Series. This is a very specialty pole. It does have a foam-filled core, which gives it superior dielectric properties, insulating properties. These poles are sold primarily for line clearance, tree trimming line clearance. These are not sold or marketed as a hot stick. A hot stick is specifically used and specifically marketed to touch live lines or live switchgear. We do not market it as such. We market it as line clearance only. However, we do test the poles to a hot stick specification. That specification is for 100,000 volts per foot for 5 minutes. 100 kV per foot for 5 minutes. That makes sure that this pole is a perfect insulator. Every single JE pole that Jameson ships has been tested for 100 kV per foot for 5 minutes. Now it's up to the user to maintain their pole, make sure it doesn't get scratched or nicked or bent or broken or damaged so that those dielectric properties are maintained. Jameson merely guarantees that the pole passed our test when it left our factory. Again, it's up to the end user to make sure they have a regular documented maintenance program in place with their company to maintain the dielectric properties as the pole is in use. The FG series is also tested for the same 100 kV per foot. However, this pole is only tested in batch increments. We test a quantity of poles once a month to make sure that the design is still correct, the production is still correct, and that they still maintain the proper insulating properties. We don't specifically market these for line clearance, although we do know that some end users use them that way. That's up to them. That's up to their company procedures. These are widely used in professional arborists, tree care, and aerial construction. For details on any of the poles, their applications, their accessories, visit the Jameson website, jamesonllc.com. Jameson offers 2 versions of tree pruners. These are used by professional tree care and occasionally the do-it-yourselfer to prune limbs and tree branches, bushes and shrubs, or anything growing that you need cut back. We have 2 main models, the JA14 and the JA34. The difference between the two is the cutting capacity. The JA14 is 1 1/4 inch. The JA34 is 1 3/4 inch. You can see the differences there. This is the JA14, 1 1/4 inch. This is the 34, 1 3/4 inch. That 1/2 inch of capacity makes a big difference. The professional tree trimmer is always trying to cut bigger and bigger branches. He prefers to use the pruner over a saw blade because it's just faster. So that's why we came out with the larger model. We refer to the JA34 as the big mouth pruner. You'll often hear salesmen or people internally just call it the big mouth pruner. They don't even say JA34 half the time. Both pruners come with different options and different kits, with and without ropes, with and without adapters, with and without double or single pulley. And I'd encourage you to go to the website to see all the variety of our offerings, JamesonLLC.com. You'll find all the information and part numbers you'll need there for all the different kits and varieties of offerings we have. The 14 I have here is actually the single pruner or single pulley design. Self-explanatory, one pulley actuates the cutting motion. This 34, the big mouth, is a double pulley. What the double pulley does is it lessens the tension required to actuate the pruner. It makes the cut easier. It does lengthen the stroke, however. You can see how much further I have to pull the rope to get the blade to close. So that's the trade-off. It's easier to pull, but you got to pull it a little further. Again, tree care professionals who want to cut large branches quickly with little effort tend to go for the big mouth double pulley pruner. The JA14 has been around longer, obviously. It is still a standard pruner used by major tree companies in the US and Canada. Very good design, very durable design, has stood the test of time. Both pruners have very similar options and features. They both use what's called a bypass blade. You can see that blade is cutting to the side of the hook, almost like a scissor would cut. That's called a bypass blade. Blades are resharpenable. Both blades are resharpenable and replaceable. All the parts are made from forged plated steel, except for the round piece here is actually aluminum casting to save weight. The hook that you would hook the tree branch onto has a raised edge or a recessed edge here. That prevents drag when cutting. Any surface area reduction for the blade to pass over is going to help make the cut easier. Much of the hardware has been rounded over or recessed so that it prevents excessive snag points when you're up in a tree or reaching in between branches, less likely to get hung up or snagged. Both pruners have replaceable parts. Almost all the parts on this pruner are replaceable, and Jameson does offer replacement parts. Call your customer service agent or talk to your Jameson sales manager for details on replacement parts. Many of the replacement parts are also interchangeable between the JA14 and the big mouth. Again, talk to your Jameson sales manager for details on that. One of the great features about both pruners as far as blade replacement, as you can imagine, the blade wears out sooner than any other part. Many competitive models have a firm rivet here at the upper spring pin, which means you have to drill that rivet out to change the blade. Jameson models use a nut, a threaded stud and a nut with a nylon insert, so that to replace the blade all you have to do is remove that nut, pull out your pin, put the new blade in, and you don't have to take it to a shop or to your garage to drill it out and replace it. Both pruners have an extra strong spring. The spring is what's used to return the pruner back to the open position. You can imagine if you're 20 feet reaching up in a tree and you make that cut and that blade doesn't spring back, that's a real frustration. So we make sure we have plenty of spring tension to pull that blade back. Something that really helps maintain the proper function of your pruner is, of course, care and maintenance. Keep it clean and dry. Don't store it in the weather. Don't store it in the bed of your truck. Always keep it indoors in the cab of a truck. Keep it clean. If you get sap buildup, and you will, you can use common cleaners like Goo Gone or other tar and bug removers to clean the tar and the sap off the pruner. And always keep it well lubricated. WD-40 or any light machine oil is great for this. If you keep it clean and oiled, it'll last a long, long time, and normal wear and tear, obviously you can replace the parts. And of course, both pruners work with our Jameson poles. The adapters plug into the poles the same way that all of the Jameson accessories do, right into our female ferrule. So these are the Jameson JA14 and Jameson JA34 big mouth pruners. Visit our website, jamesonllc.com, for product details and further specifications. The Jameson line of saw blade products is known as the Barracuda tri-edge blades. We offer these in both pole saws and hand saws. The blades themselves are interchangeable. This is a pole saw, goes on the end of a pole. The same blade can also be installed in a hand saw handle. The blades are interchangeable and replaceable. The pole saw blade is attached to a pole saw casting, or a saw head casting as they're often referred. The casting is made out of die-cast aluminum, and the blade attaches just with a simple thumb screw. And it's aligned with an alignment pin. You can see the black nub here to keep the blade straight. You actually have 3 adjustable angles on the blade. Most people prefer mounted just like you see here, straight up and down. Others will tilt it in an acute angle for complex cuts. Others will fold it back for other special cuts. Mostly straight up and down works. The hook on the saw blade casting is used to pull the limb out of the tree, out of the foliage, once you've cut it free. Oftentimes that limb doesn't fall, you need to hook it and rake it out of there. And there's many other uses you can imagine. People get creative. It's very strong, very durable part, very lightweight. And of course our pole saw castings clip into the Jameson ferrule, just like that. Our hand saws, the same Barracuda tri-edge blade that goes in the pole saw, has a rubberized ergonomic grip handle. It's got some textures here to reduce slippage. It's got a bit of a finger guard here to prevent your hand from sliding into the cutting area. It's got a cushy grip, of course, from the rubberized material, but it also has a rigid substrate inside that gives it some rigidity and strength, so you can really feel what you're cutting. We also offer the same hand saw blade, but in a birchwood handle. Conventional, traditional handle, economic choice for those who want to save a little money. We also offer a hand saw, a folding hand saw. This folds just like a pocket knife does. Actually locks in the closed and the open position. It's the same Barracuda blade. Blade features, obviously this one's not replaceable. It's a fixed blade in the foldable hand saw. A very compact, easy to use option. The blade itself, the Barracuda blade itself, has several unique features compared to other saw blades. Conventional saw blades are sharpened on 2 faces. They cut well, but they wear out, and there's been advancements. The Barracuda blade is ground actually on 3 edges. The conventional grind angles you normally see, and then a 3rd angle at the very tip. This produces a razor-like cutting action. These blades will cut very aggressively through almost any material. You've got to try one to believe it. They're extremely sharp and extremely efficient to use. They're made from SK5 Japanese steel, chrome plated. It's the best steel available in saw blades on the market for tree care use. The teeth themselves are flared out slightly, and you won't be able to see it on camera, but they're flared out slightly just at the tip so that you create a wider cutting path they call the kerf, so that the rest of the blade slides through easily after that. The tip of the tooth is actually impulse hardened to make it harder and more durable. Tri-edge blades are not sharpenable, so this impulse hardening at the tip of the tooth really helps increase the longevity of the blade. All these features of the Barracuda tri-edge blade, the material, the grind angles, the setting, the impulse hardening, these are common features to the highest priced blades on the market. The market leaders have all the same features as Jameson. However, Jameson offers the same thing at a slightly lower price. So you're really getting a great bang for your buck when you use the Jameson blades. There are many accessories available, scabbards, other types of blades, lengths of blades. Go to our website, jamesonllc.com, for more information on all the accessories and to learn more about our blades.